Welcome to the regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation Municipality of Central Elgin. It is Monday, March the 25th. Welcome to those in the council chambers as well as those who are joining us online. If I could ask those in attendance to please rise for the national anthem, please. Thank you. The Municipality of Central Elgin acknowledges that it is located on the land of the McKee Treaty that was signed by the Wyandot and the Anishinaabe nations, including ancestors of Chippewas of the Thames First Nation. It is also the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Attawandaronk, and Mississauga Nation. These First Nations continue to provide ongoing stewardship of the land and waters in the Municipality of Central Elgin. Council, any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof, please? Seeing none, we have a delegation this evening. Craigholme Estates. Ms. Barbara Rosser is joining us. Ms. Rosser, if you could come to the podium, please. And if you could just, you've got it all set. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, Council. My name is Barbara Rosser. I'm the planning consultant retained by Craigholme Estates Limited with regard to its subdivision in Belmont Estates. I've been their planning consultant for probably about 10 years through the approval and development of phases 4A and B and 5. And then I'm their planning consultant with regard to the Phase 6 subdivision now. And Delaney, could you put that screen up, please? Just to show you. There we are. If you could, can you zoom out at all? It's a large subdivision, 208 dwelling units would result from the development, as well as a large stormwater management facility in the southwest corner. And then there is the block that was expropriated. It's Part 1, Plan 33R 21332. I should have mentioned before I got started, and I'm going to try and make my remarks brief, that Don Leahy and Joe Snyders, who are the principals of Craigholme Estates, are here with me tonight as well. I'm just going to make a few brief sort of updates since my letter that was dated the 9th of February. And it's certainly not the municipality's fault that I'm not here till now. I was away and asked for a deferral. With regard to point 1 of the letter that I submitted, I can advise that mediation has now been scheduled with the Thames Valley Board in late April. So that's new information. The block that you see that I've already described in the northeast corner, I should emphasize that that was configured to the specific requirements of the Thames Valley Board with regard to its Belmont School. In addition, the zoning that applies, which is a mixed institutional residential zoning, a dual zoning, that was done in concert with the Thames Valley Board and the board's specific requirements on that for the institutional component of the zoning. So once the block was expropriated in April, Craigholme had to redline the plan to have that block removed, and that was done July 11th, 2023. So the plan that you see is the red line version of the plan. So there have been delays along the road. This is a large subdivision, and after draft plan approval, my client embarked on the preparation of detailed servicing plans. And so those were, again, done in collaboration with the Thames Valley Board engineer, as well as the municipality's staff, to prepare servicing plans that would be appropriate to providing full servicing to the school site, as well as school block, as well as provide full servicing to the remaining lands in the subdivision. So again, we got draft plan approval at the latter part of 2021. And then in the summer of 2023, the municipality signed off on those detailed servicing plans. And of course, part of the delay was that they had to be revised to address the fact that the block that had been set aside was no longer part of the draft plan. Under point 4, it indicates that the environmental compliance approval application went to the ministry in August 2023. And that because of the long delay, Craigholme had started working with the local MPP's office to try to explore what the delay was. And it turns out that actually the project did meet the municipality's pre-authorization requirements for ECA approvals, and it was brought back to Central Elgin from the ministry. And that was about a month ago. And the new forms required, those were promptly submitted to staff. And so we're hopeful that things will get rolling now, because that was a fairly significant delay and of course an expense. Under point 5, it indicates that Craigholme solicitor communicated with Central Elgin solicitor by correspondence of September 28th. That was followed up on by correspondence of February 23rd, 2023. And in addition to my own follow-ups, we have yet to receive a draft subdivision agreement that has been revised in accordance with the comments that Craigholme had submitted. Some of them were, quite frankly, just errors, and some of them had to do with Craigholme's experience through the previous 5 phases and ways in which the subdivision could be, the agreement could be adjusted. Through this process, I've certainly come to know, despite my fairly long time practicing planning in this part of the world, just how important that subdivision agreement is, because I now know that the developer takes that to the financial institution, and it's on that basis funding can be arranged and development can go ahead and servicing can happen. So again, think in terms of, you know, our correspondence going in September, excuse me, and, you know, just basically nothing has happened in terms of getting that agreement in hand, because the goal had been servicing to start in the spring of this year. My point 6 does reference the impact of the pandemic on development, and so that certainly was a factor in terms of Craigholme's the delay in proceeding. It definitely impact that, along with interest hikes, has impacted development and new housing purchases. I think we're all aware that there has been a slowdown, but interestingly, since 2021, we've all become quite aware of the housing crisis in the province of Ontario, and no doubt Central Elgin, like most municipalities, has a need for those 208 housing units, not just in Central Elgin, but in Elgin County and environs. So we think there's a chance of recovery now, and that the time is good to go ahead with this development, again, assuming we can get a subdivision agreement that will allow things to start to happen, and assuming the ECA hopefully comes much more quickly now that it's back at Central Elgin. We're seeking a resolution of support from Central Elgin Council for 3 years. And with that in hand, we would go to County Council to make a similar request. And we're here to answer any questions, but I think we're hoping you see this as a kind of routine matter, and we'll offer support for Craigholme.
Thanks, Ms. Ruster.
you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brooks, did you want to speak to this? Seems pretty cut and dried. If you wish, I didn't mean to.
I guess I could speak with regard to the extension of the draft plan of subdivision. Staff generally have no concerns with, council support of that extension. The only risk being that it would be minor is that it would tie up sanitary sewer capacity and hold that with Craigholme subdivision for the next 3 years. So what that essentially does is it takes up capacity, and it may have an impact on other potential developments that come forward. Now, whether or not any of those developments come forward within that 3 years is unlikely.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Ms. Rosser, did you want to speak?
I just wanted to ensure that council's aware that there is a holding zone that applies to the zoning for the Phase 6 subdivision. And in order to get the holding zone off, sanitary capacity has to be confirmed. So I presume that gives the municipality some element of control.
Right. Councillor Bachman, please.
Yeah, just a comment, Your Worship. As council may or may not, there's a very strong community push, as I'm sure Joe and Mr. Leahy or Mr. Snyder's Mr. Leahy are well aware, in getting this school moving. And if this first step is what we need to take, then by all means, let's get this ball rolling. The housing, obviously, crisis that the province is facing, this is very much needed. So whatever it takes, I'm sure we can accommodate to keep this ball moving forward.
Thank you, Councillor Bachman. Is this Mr. Snyder here in the gallery? Oh, Mr. Snyder. Okay. Nice to see you, sir. I was going to say, I knocked on your door, sir. That's probably a conflict. Anyway, any other comments, councillors? Follow up?
It's at council's discretion. This is a delegation, so you can accept the information, thank them for their time to provide it to you. You can give direction. Resolution comes from council.
Would someone want to make a motion? Councillor Halpin, please.
Could I move that we make a resolution of support?
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Bachman, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that council approve the request from Craigholme Estates that the Municipality of Central Elgin support an extension by Elgin County of the draft plan of approval of the Craigholme Estates Phase 6 draft plan in Belmont.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you very much.
Just may I say thank you to yourself and to council and to staff as well.
Very welcome. Moving along, adoption of minutes of previous meetings. May I get a mover and a seconder? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Watson, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Noble, seconded by Councillor Watson, that the minutes for the special meeting of council dated February 5th, 2024, and regular meeting of council dated February 12th, 2024 be adopted.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence and requiring action, SE 0224, Colors on the Beach. I'm not sure we need to speak to this. Some of us have already been there and done that, as they say. Very important and fun event for Port Stanley. Any questions or comments? If I get a mover and a seconder, Councillor Bachman and Councillor Connors. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bachman, seconded by Councillor Connors, that report SE 224 regarding Colors on the Beach event be received as information, and the council approve the special event permit for the 2024 Colors on the Beach event to be held on July 13th, 2024, from approximately 1:00 p.m. to 6:00 p.m., subject to the following recommended conditions. The organizers complying with the special events policy as adopted by council, liability insurance being provided by the organizers of the event in the amount of $5 million, naming the County of Elgin and the Municipality of Central Elgin as co-insured and held harmless, and the final schedule and location of the event being approved by the Director of Infrastructure and Community Services.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. SE 0324, the South Dorchester PS Home and School Association Touch a Truck fundraiser. Questions or comments? Another good event. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Halpin, Councillor Bachman. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that report SE 324 regarding South Dorchester Public School Touch a Truck fundraiser be received as information, and that council approve the special event permit for the South Dorchester Public School Touch a Truck fundraiser event to be held on May 25th, 2024, from approximately 10:00 a.m. to 12:00 p.m., subject to the following recommended conditions. The organizers complying with the special events policy as adopted by council, liability insurance being provided by the organizers of the event in the amount of $5 million, naming the County of Elgin and the Municipality of Central Elgin as co-insured and held harmless, a portion of the Belmont Arena parking lot to be determined by the Director of Infrastructure and Community Services be maintained for community use during the event, and the final schedule and location of the event being approved by the Director of Infrastructure and Community Services.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. SC 0424, the Ontario Summer Games Sailing Competition. Questions or comments? If I could have a mover and a seconder, Deputy Mayor and Councillor Connors. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Noble, seconded by Councillor Connors, that report SE 424 regarding 2024 Ontario Summer Games Sailing Competition be received as information, and that council approve the special events permit for the 2024 Ontario Summer Games Sailing Competition event to be held from August 1st to 3rd, 2024, from approximately 8:00 a.m. to 5:00 p.m., subject to the following recommended conditions. The organizers complying with the special events policy as adopted by council, liability insurance being provided by the organizers of the event in the amount of $5 million, naming the County of Elgin and the Municipality of Central Elgin as co-insured and held harmless. One side of the public boat launch being maintained for public access during the entirety of the event. Payment of the daily parking fee of $27.50 over 2 days for the 40 vehicles near the public boat launch, being a total of $2,200. Vehicles will be parked in the closed lot between the public parking lot and the Dominion of Canada building, and the final schedule and location of the event being approved by the Director of Infrastructure and Community Services.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to receive for information two letters, one from the Elgin St. Thomas Coalition to End Poverty, one from the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority. Questions on either item? Seeing none, if I could get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Watson, Councillor Bachman. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that correspondence items number 1 and 2 be received for information.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. Report stage, Central Elgin Planning Office, CEP 0824, a consent application, Ferguson Line from Joyce Marie Ferguson. Questions or comments? Seeing none, if I could get a mover and a seconder. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Halpin. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Noble, seconded by Councillor Halpin, that report CEP 2424 be received for information. And that should council pass a resolution in support of consent application E2424 to the Land Division Committee, staff recommends the following conditions. 1, the severed land be merged in title with the abutting lot to the west, municipally known as 43639 Ferguson Line. 2, that subsection 3 or 5 of section 50 of the Planning Act as amended shall apply to any subsequent conveyance or transaction involving the subject lands. 3, the solicitor for the applicant is to provide an undertaking whereby they inform the committee in writing that the lands are being conveyed to an abutting property owner, and thus a merger of title will take place, which merger shall include all interest held inclusive or mortgagee's interest. And 4, the Municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of the reference plan.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. CEP 1024, an application for exempted draft plan of condominium approval, Wastel Builders. Questions or comments? Seeing none, if I could get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Halpin, Deputy Mayor.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that report CEP 1024 be received, and further that council provide a resolution of support for the proposed exempted draft plan of condominium for 100 The Promenade in the Village of Port Stanley, and further that the resolution of support is forwarded to the acting manager of planning for the County of Elgin for inclusion in the county's decision on the draft plan of condominium application.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. CEP 1124, final draft County of Elgin official plan, public meeting notice and the request for comments. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Watson, Councillor Connors, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Connors, that report CEP 1124 be received, and the council endorse the formal comments attached to report CEP 1124 as Appendix A for circulation to the County of Elgin by March 26, 2024, as per the County of Elgin's public meeting notice for its official plan review.
All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. Director of Financial Services, we have DFS 0524, which is the 2023 Statement of Remuneration Expenses for Council Members. If I could get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Halpin, Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that the Council of the Municipality of Central Elgin receive report DFS 524 2023 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses for Council Members for information.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Director of Fire Services, Emergency Management Bylaw and Associated Emergency Plan. Chief, did you want to speak to this, or is it relatively straightforward?
Through you, Mayor Sloan, that should be relatively straightforward. It's just an update to a current plan that we have, just updating some of the new requirements and emergency management Ontario has asked all municipalities to adhere to.
Thank you, sir. Questions for the chief, or can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Bachman will move and Deputy Mayor will second. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that report FS 624 regarding emergency management bylaw and associated emergency plan be received for information, and the council endorse the emergency management bylaw and associated emergency plan.
All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Now, number 2, FS 0724, April 8th, the 2024 solar eclipse. I'd asked you about this, Chief, because obviously the OPP in our meeting, we're having a a discussion. Be a difficult one to foresee depending on what the weather's like. If it's raining and cloudy, I guess we won't have to get out the extra help, but I appreciate that you have a plan, as you always do. Did anyone wish to speak to it, either the chief or do you want to speak to it specifically, Chief?
Through you, Mayor Sloan. As the report says, we have been working on planning for a while now. Obviously, the closer we get to it, the more diligent the planning is ongoing. We have a couple of meetings scheduled for this week coming up. We've heard some numbers, which originally I was fine with. We've heard some more numbers that are starting to increase as we move along. So in all aspects, we're going to plan for a fairly large crowd, and no disrespect to Port Stanley or Central Elgin. Hopefully it doesn't come to fruition as much as what we've been told to possibly expect. So currently, as I said, plans are underway, and I think and hope for a very successful day. I think it'll be a very good showcase for Port Stanley and Central Elgin as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and reminder to everyone to wear their glasses, which we were given a sample of this evening. Any questions or comments about the eclipse or the plan from the chief? Thank you. Seeing none, if I could get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Bachman and the Deputy Mayor.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that report FS 724 be received for information.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. We're into the bylaws. We're taking these together as I need a mover and seconder for these. Okay. All right. If I could get a mover and seconder for the bylaws, please, Councillor Halpin and Councillor Connor. Thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Councillor Connors, the bylaws 2868, 2869, 2870, and 2871 and 2876 be taken collectively.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Mover and a seconder for first and second. Councillor Watson, Councillor Bachman.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that bylaws 2868, 2869, 2870, 2871, and 2876 be read a first and second time.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Third and final, mover and a seconder, Councillor Halpin, thank you, and Deputy Mayor, thanks.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Halpin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Noble, that bylaws 2868, 2869, 2870, 2871, and 2876 be read a third time and finally passed.
All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Public notice of motions. Mr. Airstone, you have something for other business, I'm told, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. To council, just wanted to report that we have the budget binders for 2024 available tonight for you, for your pickup. The contents are a covering report that I provided at the front of the report, and then the budget itself. There's an index that will flow you through the document where various things are. And this week we'll be publishing the budget on the website for everyone to have access to it. We'll be publishing the agenda and the budget in my report later on this week too. And we'll be meeting on Tuesday at 12 noon.
Perfect. We're on. Thank you, Mr. Airstone. We're on for next week. And thank you for your help on the budget, and to our Ward 1 and 2 councillors, who I think are our reps on the budget committee. So thanks for your engagement. May I get a mover and a seconder to move to a closed session? Councillor Bachman, Councillor Watson, thank you.
Mayor Sloan, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Councillor Watson, the council proceed into closed session at 8:17 p.m. in order to address a matter pertaining to a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board.
All those in favor? Opposed? We're in close. Thank you all very much.